It began like any other long-haul job. The sun had already set behind the burnt orange cliffs of Arizona, and the desert wind stirred the fine dust across the blacktop. Rick Dawson, a seasoned trucker with 20 years behind the wheel, had just refueled at a lonely outpost called Dust Creek Station. He didn't know it then, but that was the last piece of real land he would touch. His route was simple: interstate to County 15, a known shortcut that reconnected with the main highway about 60 miles later. Truckers called it the Devil's Rib because of how the road slithered through the desert hills, surrounded by cracked mesas and dried riverbeds. Most avoided it after sundown, citing ghost stories. But Rick had always believed in hard rubber and diesel, not shadows. The road unfolded before him like a ribbon of tar, lit by the dual beams of his truck's high-powered headlights. The air crackled with static, a strange frequency playing through his CB radio, though no one else was transmitting. For miles, there was nothing. No other vehicles, no signs, no wildlife. Only mile markers passed him by, each one stained and leaning, as though the land itself had grown tired of holding them up. At mile 127, his headlights flickered once, then returned. At mile 128, the radio sputtered with faint, indecipherable voices. By mile 129, the temperature in the cab dropped by 20 degrees. His breath fogged the windshield. At mile 130, he saw the first stranded car. It was a maroon sedan, half sunk in the sand off the shoulder, lights dim and doors open. Rick slowed to a crawl. No signs of anyone nearby, just drag marks in the dirt leading toward the desert. A small teddy bear lay on the ground, covered in dust. A gut instinct told him to keep moving. He did. As he rolled into what should have been mile 131, his dashboard clock reset itself to 0000. His GPS lost signal entirely. The air felt heavier, like driving underwater. Every foot forward became a test of will. And then, the landscape began to shift. The desert around him twisted, saguaro cacti standing in impossible angles, a rusted school bus perched atop a hill like it had been dropped from the sky. Shapes stood on the roadside, motionless, watching. Figures cloaked in shadow, some tall, some child-sized. Their faces were blurred, as if memory refused to hold on to them. He didn't stop. He couldn't. The speedometer needle ticked wildly. 20, 70, 5, 130. Rick slammed the dashboard with his fist. It sparked and smoked. Then the road vanished. The truck sailed forward into what felt like open space. There was no ground, no sky, only thick fog lit by unnatural red lightning that forked in silence. Rick gripped the wheel as the truck crashed down onto something solid. But it wasn't asphalt. It was pale, pockmarked bone. The road ahead was now a spine. Giant vertebrae stretched to the horizon, each one wide enough to drive across. Beneath them, glowing eyes blinked from cracks in the chasm. Sounds rose, wailing, pleading, laughter that echoed like it came from inside his own mind. He hit the brakes. The truck slid to a stop, but not by his doing. It felt as if the wheels had frozen in place, locked in time. Shapes emerged from the fog. Travelers, victims, people who had disappeared on this stretch of road. A man in a suit with an old suitcase. A woman in nurse scrubs, her head turned entirely around. A child with no mouth. Their eyes begged him, warned him, cursed him. He covered his face and screamed, but no sound escaped. Then the truck began to move again, backward. The truck rolled in reverse, not along any road, but across a memory. The sky bled crimson, and the shapes outside became familiar. People Rick had once known. His old dispatcher, long dead from a heart attack. A waitress from a diner he frequented in Wyoming. His ex-wife, her eyes weeping black tears. None had aged, yet none belonged to the living. Billboards flickered in the fog. Exit here. Every mile is a memory. You left us behind." The voices returned, layered and distorted. They didn't speak words, but meanings. Guilt, abandonment, regret. The truck was no longer his vessel. It was a coffin on wheels, driving through the necropolis of his own mind. When he looked into the side mirror, there was no reflection, just static. And behind the static, a pale face watching. Then came the thud. He'd hit something. He stepped out, boots crunching on broken glass and gravel that hadn't been there before. The thing he struck was not human. Or rather, it was something that had once been. A torso, head twisted, grinning impossibly wide. It bled black, and as the blood touched the ground, it hissed and turned into smoke. Rick climbed back in. The dashboard now displayed one word in glowing red. Return. He shifted gears and accelerated. The fog parted briefly to reveal more mile markers, but they were wrong. They didn't ascend. They repeated 131, 131, 131. No matter how far he drove, the same shattered sign kept appearing on the roadside, nailed to a dead tree. He passed the same maroon sedan again. Doors open, lights dim. Only this time, the teddy bear was sitting upright in the middle of the road. He swerved to avoid it. The landscape buckled. The sky folded in on itself like torn fabric. Roads twisted, crossed, inverted. Time itself fractured. The radio blared static, then laughter, then his own voice screaming. He stopped keeping track of hours, days, weeks. Rick's beard grew, his eyes yellowed. Sleep came like seizures, short, violent, always ending in nightmare. Every time he passed mile 131, a new part of him disappeared. First his memories of birthdays, then his childhood, then his name. The road wasn't just haunted, it was feeding. The CB crackled one final time. A voice. Weak, broken, his own. "This is Rick Dawson. If you're hearing this, turn around. There's no end. There's only mile 131. I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know if I'm even alive." The tape played on loop, long after he stopped transmitting. Rick's truck became part of the scenery, just like the others. Some rusted beyond recognition, some still idling, all frozen in place. The desert had reclaimed the road. Only wind and dust remained, and somewhere deep beneath it, a network of bones, vertebrae of something ancient, watching the surface with eyes older than death. New travelers came. They always did. They always saw the sign. Shortcut to main highway, 60 miles. And they always took it. Years later, a woman named Melinda took the same route. Her phone lost signal. Her radio picked up an old transmission, a voice crying for help. She passed the maroon sedan, then Rick's truck. She never came out the other side, but someone else did. A hitchhiker, wearing Rick's jacket, smiling.